we want to continue working with our partners, my colleagues at the panel, and of course with the government and with you, Mr. Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mariana Spilaric-Egger, Director of the Regional Bureau at the UNDP. Thank you very much. And now we will go to Webke Schlommer from IFC. I'm interested in not just what you would like to see from the government over the next year, but also your thoughts about what you've heard here for the last day and a half. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And first I want to say, having been here on the ground the last 2 days, that I'm very impressed with the forum, and impressed really across a number of dimensions. First of all, the quality of the discussions. I think many of us joined quite a few conferences and discussions, and I would say the quality, the content that was discussed really impressed me, and I think speaks a lot for the reform agenda and the depth of the reform agenda. So that's one thing. Then, of course, what really impressed me, and I'm saying this with a big smile on my face, working with the private sector, how much the private sector featured at this event. First of all, the interest from private sector participants. I think you see the room has been full, or the rooms have been full from international private sector participants. I think, again, that speaks for the interest, I want to say, the world is taking in Uzbekistan. So these are all pieces that give us a hint on how to go forward. And then thinking about the private sector, of course, how to bring in more private sector, and that's across privatizations. We had long or good discussions and very focused discussions about privatizations, what makes them successful, about PPPs, and of course also about, accompanied with it, SOE reform, so preparing the SOEs, transforming the SOEs. And I think there a clear commitment, and this is something, when I'm saying this as observations, it's also what I would like to see very much going forward, the focus on transparency, the focus on clear rules, on accountability, on predictability, so all these pieces that really support private sector participation. A second observation is what I was also very happy to hear a lot is discussion not only about growth, but then I think, Anna, you said this in the opening panel about inclusive growth, and I would add inclusive and green growth. And really, again, would like to encourage that this is not just the growth model is, no, the model is growth, and inclusiveness and green are the add-on, but that really this becomes the fundamental underlying growth model. I think we've started with this, the way I've been picking up the discussions and of course the reforms, but the encouragement is to really make this the growth model. This is an opportunity that Uzbekistan very much has. And then the third point, and here I want to say something I perhaps would have liked to see a bit more, and that again leads me into the way forward is actually, and we just heard this about digital transformation, the theme of digital economy linked to a technology. This was not the main topic of the forum, and perhaps that was meant to be, but is such an important topic that this is something I would like to encourage to have more in the discussions, in the reform agendas, and again embedded in the growth model. And the I'd say just one more thing apart, and with all these sort of key themes, my big plea is also keep the commitment to the reform, keep that energy. I think we've had an energy here, a positive energy, a vibe, a dynamism, which we don't have necessarily in all countries or many countries. So I think this is something quite unique. I think the government, you have that drive, and you pull us all along. So please keep doing this, and then we count on us that we will come along.
Mr. Chen, please.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you. So first of all, I'd like to congratulations for a very successful, very fruitful the forum. And also, I would like to thank the Uzbekistan government for your strong leadership, specifically bring us together. I do believe success of your agenda not only benefit for Uzbekistan, but also benefit for the region. So this is, we are happy to join these efforts. Thirdly, during this day, I really realize you have a very strong vision, very strong strategy, and also the commitment is strong as well. So this is my takeaway. But at the same time, in the discussion, we still feel that rather talk about the second phase, but I would like to say it's kind of deep water. So yeah, with some extra challenges there, needed definitely extra efforts to there. So this is something I feel during this period discussion. From the ADB's perspective, maybe I just quickly mention the 3 dimensions. The first is on the growth. So lots of discussion on the growth. I really appreciated and agree with the previous 2 speakers. Maybe something, first of all, I'd like to highlight is from angle of green growth. So this is the kind of strategy of Uzbekistan. Secondly, I also highly agree with that how to explore the digital potential would be also something there for the growth, so support the growth. Thirdly, ADB is working a lot in the area of PPP, so maybe joined with IFC as well. So this is something there, first dimension. Second, lots of discussion, I think, focused on the structure reform. I think the key is expanded the private sector component in the whole economic the structures. So this is something really key related to SOE reform, related to SMEs. So those areas we would like to join Uzbekistan with the efforts. And also some area like regional cooperation really will add some momentum there. Last but not least, I also heard a lot of discussion, not only structure itself, but government, public management reform is something really. We believe that not only like we talking before, science is the productivity. We strongly believe reform also is the productivity. So fiscal, budget systems reform, debt management, domestic resources mobilization. So all of this is, I think, as a key. And also the system, how to further strengthen the capital market would be also help to strengthen the domestic resources mobilization and the support SOE's reform. I strongly also agree with the human capital development. So related to the system of education, system of health, and also system of social protection. So those areas, ADB stand ready to work with the government. We will put high priorities on those areas, work with you, with the peer IFIs. Let me stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Bierde.
Thank you so much, Ryan, and good evening to everyone who's here in person, and also hello to everyone who's connected. It's really nice to be back on this panel reflecting on these 2 days. And I think I have a few messages, but the first thing I wanted to mention, what I have appreciated with this forum, is the openness in the exchange of ideas. And I think this is something that is really a testament to our host, which is ready to contribute with experience, but also ready to learn from others. And in my view and in my experience, this is a very, very positive ingredient for success. Constantly evaluating, constantly learning, constantly adjusting and adapting. In an environment like here in Uzbekistan, where reforms have happened very fast, are leading to a significant and fundamental transformation of the economy and the society, it's very important to continuously take stock. So I'm impressed and I'm really happy about the openness. I'll be quite practical, Ryan, because if you ask what should the focus be on now, I have a couple of areas. Again, Uzbekistan is embarking on all these very important reforms, and we talked the other day about second-generation reforms. And I would like to mention 4 pieces of legislation that we would love to see make progress, because they will set the stage for the second wave of reforms. The first one is the legislation around privatization. This is a really important piece of legislation that will help establish all the fundamental structures around privatization, as well as roles and responsibilities. It's very important to undertake this properly and with good consultations, and I'm very glad to see the government proceeding with this. And this will help really all the ambitions around privatizing everything from small to large enterprises. So that's the first one. The second piece of legislation is the state asset law, also known as the corporate governance piece of legislation. This is again very important, and we've already heard about all the good developments on putting supervisory boards in place for state-owned enterprises, state-owned banks, and the corporate governance will of course be very important as part of the SOE reform. The third one is what we call the labor code. This is also very important. It will actually accompany very nicely as a companion piece both the privatization and the corporate governance law. Because in many ways when you're privatizing, as we know from experience, you also need to make sure you pay due attention to the social dimensions and the labor issues. And finally, I'm very impressed to see in a short period of time the stepped up ambition on reforming land. Here we have both the non-agricultural as well as the agricultural land, and there's legislations under formulation for both. And this is going to fundamentally change also economy and society in this country, because you're providing for land security and land tenure so that both people who are farming large plots and small plots can earn livelihood and have collateral and have security of their assets. The second area that I would emphasize is something we also spoke about yesterday and has been a theme throughout, which is job creation, stepping up to meet the 600,000 or so job seekers every year that come onto the market. What is needed for this? In our view, to accompany the focus on privatization and state-owned enterprise reform, competition. So this is opening up the market, deregulating the market, and allowing for competition across many, many sectors. We would particularly focus on developing the business environment for SMEs, because in our experience, a lot of the jobs will need to be created by small and medium-sized enterprises. We also would suggest that there's more attention focused on developing the services industry, because the services industry is also, in our experience, an area where a lot of jobs can be created and can also help pull people up in terms of livelihoods. And my third point is, coming back to the significant transformation the country is going through, is to continue to always focus on making the reforms people-centric. And this is something I think the government has done so nicely. And when I read and listen to the objectives and the goals, and we came back to them yesterday, what are the overarching goals for Uzbekistan? It is to have poverty by 2026, and it is to become an upper middle income country by 2030. For me, this means putting people front and center, and that's also what I hear when I talk to the government, when I talk to leaders, when I talk to the president of the country, that it's really about putting people first and making sure that every citizen of this country can feel the impact of the reforms. So people-centric reforms. Thank you.
Minister Ishmetov.
Thank you very much, Ryan. Well, first of all, I would like to express my sincere appreciation for the very active participation on this forum from all our guests, all our partners. It was really overwhelming. We didn't expect such a big participation. It's just over all what we hoped for, all what we want to have. And it was really about discussion, really fruitful discussion. I tried to participate in 4 small roundtable panel sessions, and in each of them I have seen the rooms full, and there was active discussion. Besides that, I mainly spent all these 2 days with one-to-one meetings with lots of our guests, our partners, And with each this meeting, I was able to receive some new recommendations on what we have to do in order to continue this path of reforms, and it was really positive. If we look at the numbers, and I think we can now announce that we have signed 55 different agreements, and it's, on the privatization, it's for $600 million on privatization, it's $2.6 billion on public-private partnership, and $3.4 billion for foreign credit lines and consulting agreements. And I think this is not bad results. And now if, let me to sum up what I learned from this forum is, or what we can probably tell to our partners is the first one is that I would like to probably quote our president, His Excellency Mr. Mirziyoyev, in his one of the last speeches. He announced that, declared openly that all the reforms that we have started 5 years ago are irreversible, despite all the challenges, external challenges. It's a pandemic situation, it's increasing competition, there is some protectionism appears somewhere. Despite all the external and internal challenges, the reforms are reversible, and this is what we want to say to all our partners. Second is that we will continue to build the trust among all our partners, investors. We will show it not by the words, but by the results. Hopefully, we were able to see these results during this forum, and we are aiming to show results on a daily basis, on an annual basis, to build this very difficult track record of the confidence among the private investors. This is a key for us. And the second, whatever we will do, we will try to continue to build the confidence among the local community. This is very important. And when I say local community, I mean exactly each family and each single business. And the reason why I'm saying is that, again, I will refer to our leadership. Whatever we do, whatever we discuss or propose some ideas to continue reforms, we always have challenging questions from His Excellency. And always the last question is always, okay, what will this reform, or your proposal, government proposal, this minister proposal, will bring to a family, not to a country, not to a region, not to a district, but to a single family? Does it affect any single family? Or how it will affect the single small business? And this creates a lot of headache for us when we have to propose something. And this, now, while as an economist we are thinking about the fair, inclusive growth, now there is understanding that this is the way how we have to work, and we will continue to build confidence among the local community. And the third one is that we, as an economist, I have to say, we will continue to provide the proper operational environment, which means macro stability. So whatever we will do, we understand that sometimes there is some little bit overheating in fiscal expansion. Sometimes there is some hitting with the lending, but we always keep in mind that our main obligation is to provide for everybody, for any type of investor, the guarantees that we will provide stability, and we will focus in our policy to ensuring that we will provide this resilience and sustainability in our economy. So to sum up, I will probably have to thank all the moderators who have actively participated and helped us, to all the panelists who participated in the sessions. Special thanks, Ryan, to you and your team. You have helped us a lot to organize this wonderful forum. After 2 days, I can say that we really received what we hoped for. But again, to sum up, I will come back to first thing which I said, and I will again reiterate the words of the President. I thought, should I say it in the beginning or at the end? And then I decided that I have to do twice. And that reforms are irreversible, and we have very strong political will that will motivate and support us in implementing these reforms. This is for any government official, is a very joyful, it is an honor to be in this historic time and to put some small inputs on all these reforms, what we are doing under the leadership of our President. If we look 5 years back, at that times, we used to say and used to hear from the people that we feel that there is changes in the air. But now, after 5 years, I can think that we are now confident that our dream to provide prosperous life in our country is really possible, and the result will be very fantastic. Thank you, all of you, for all support.
Thank you very much, Minister Ishmetov, Ms. Shlomer, Mr. Chen, Ms. Bierde, and finally, from New York City joining and carefully listening that whole while, thank you as well, Mariana Sparianic-Egger. Thank you so much, and thank you to all of you for your contributions over this last day and a half. I think this has been a fantastic forum, and it has been a pleasure and an honor to be part of it. Thank you. Well, the finance minister has just said he'd love to do some Q&A, so let's do that. If you have a question, and I hope some of you do, well, let's take a few. Stand up, because there's just no way I'll see you if you don't do that. Okay. Hopefully all of the questions have been answered over the last 14 discussions, Finance Minister. But if you have a question later today, I'm sure there will be more opportunities to put those forward. Thank you again.
İlk bora Yangi O'zbekiston, yangi imkoniyatlar shiori ostida o'tkazilgan 2 kun davom etgan O'zbekiston iqtisodiy forumi yakunlandi. Hurmatli forumda qatnashgan xalqaro moliyaviy institutlar vakillari, xorijiy hukumatlar, yirik banklar va investorlar, konsalting va audit, xususiy sektor, ommaviy axborot vositalari vakillari, biz bilan yangi g'oya va takliflar platformasida birgalikda bo'lganingiz uchun minnatdormiz. Yangi O'zbekistonga xush kelibsiz. The inaugural Uzbekistan Economic Forum, under the slogan New Uzbekistan, New Opportunities, has come to an end. Representatives of international financial institutions, foreign governments, major banks and investors, consulting and auditing companies, private sector, mass media participants of the forum, thank you for joining us on the new platform of ideas and proposals. Welcome to the new Uzbekistan.